From WESH 2, this is continuing coverage of Hurricane Dorian.
Good afternoon. We are on the air with all things Hurricane Dorian. We have continuous team coverage to get you through this storm safely. Our crews are all over Central Florida and our coastal communities as we wait to see what Hurricane Dorian does. I'm Meredith McDonough.
I'm Jim Payne. It's now a Category 4 storm with 150-mile-an-hour winds, and it continues to beat up the Bahamas. Dorian is also a deadly storm. A 7-year-old was killed, and many people are missing. We start our coverage with our First Alert team of meteorologists, Tony Benalfi and Eric Burris, and Tony is here with us right now. Tony, so we keep waiting for this turn to happen.
Yep.
We're seeing a little of a stair-step move from the storm.
It's going to take a little bit of time. You know, Category 5 hurricanes just don't stop and then all of a sudden get going. They need a push, and that push is coming right now. Now, there's a couple things we need to talk about here. Number one, storm surge. Storm surge arrives before the storm is off our coastline. When Matthew came through, you know, I had a chance to go to the coast and talk to a couple people, and they were focusing in on those points along the cone. And they said, you know what? It arrived before that point was parallel to me, and that's a great takeaway. You got to remember that for folks along the coast. So we're going to break that down for you here in a second. 2 o'clock advisory. Here you go. And it was so nice waking up this morning.
I guess.
One of them, exactly.
Yeah.
In severe weather center 9. With all those bands that are coming in, Tom was just telling us that they're getting 40, 45 mile per hour wind gusts. That's tropical storm force. So, and it is Monday at 2:14. And we still have a couple days to go.
Yes, we do. Channel 9's Michael Laparty now in another area. He is live in Osceola County.
Yeah, now, Michael, you've been monitoring the last few evacuations, actually, from the Good Samaritan Society. This area has seen some big storm impacts in the past. We've covered them, and now buses are making their way into where you are.
Yeah, George and Vanessa, good afternoon. There's really not that many people left out here, though there are some buses still out here right now if anyone still needs some help evacuating and getting out of here. The county issued a mandatory evacuation for Good Samaritan, in part because of that awful flooding that they had after Hurricane Irma. But most of these buses are empty right now because a lot of the evacuations happened over the weekend. They have about 1,500 people who live here at this property. About 200 of them have special needs, or they also have some sort of nursing care that they get while they're here. Most of those folks are already gone. The rest are mostly senior living folks. Now, we don't have an exact number as to how many people are still here, but that's estimated to be around 100 who did not evacuate. I just spoke with a county commissioner who stopped by, Peggy Chaudhry, and she was concerned, and she told me that, you know, the message for those folks, just the reminder you've been hearing throughout the day, that if there is an emergency and the storm gets really bad, first responders may not be able to reach those folks. But as we were driving around, and as you're seeing right now, most of these units appear to be empty. Good Samaritan did tell me they will have security here throughout the week, and they'll also have some extra patrols from the sheriff's office as well. They want the residents to feel comfortable if they left. We did speak with one woman. Her name is Patricia. She's 91 years old, and she was talking to us about some of the preparations she did or didn't take before she got up and got out of here today.
Mayor and I walked out of here just after midnight last night, and the last time that we had seen Dorian last night, it was thrashing the Bahamas. And if you look at where it is now compared to where it was then, hasn't really moved much at all.
No, it is the slowest storm. And Chief Meteorologist Tony Benalfi and Meteorologist Eric Burris joining us now. Guys, we've been talking about this and tracking this thing, I feel like, for days. Did we start last Tuesday?
Yeah, we did. I like the way we both said that at the same time. Look, you know, you got a Category 5 storm, just to speak to what Meredith was saying, lashing an area for, you know, probably just over 24 hours now. The pictures that we're going to get when we can actually get into that portion of the island is just going to be absolutely devastating. And now we got to also focus not along the eastern side of the peninsula, but the Carolinas, up towards Virginia Beach.
There's so many facets to this storm system. When you think about the videos that we've shown from the Bahamas, that was taken during the eye walls break, and they had the whole second side of the storm, Tony.
185 mile an hour winds. Yeah. I mean, unbelievable. Look, here's what we've got for you right now.
Right now on Fox 35, the news station.
And welcome back to our continuing coverage of Hurricane Dorian. The storm is still battering the Bahamas at this hour. Believe it or not, it is still hanging tough right there. Strong winds remaining. People are starting to try to clear out debris. Just about every car and truck in this parking lot, as you can see, damaged or destroyed in very high water as well. It is now 2:30, and we do have a lot more ahead for you as we continue to monitor Hurricane Dorian.
Of course, the first thing we're going to do is check in with meteorologist Brooks Tomlin. Brooks, where the storm is right now, I'm amazed we're getting this kind of video coming out of the Bahamas.
Bahamas.
Yeah, absolutely. Cell phone coverage is pretty miraculous compared to what we were, 10 years ago. Good afternoon, Bob and Amy. Good afternoon, everybody. Monday afternoon, Labor Day of 2019. Not the way we want to be spending it, but once again, cautiously optimistic.
2:35 right now. This just in. Port Canaveral is now officially closed. Officials say no ship, regardless of size or service, will be allowed to pass through the port. They also tell us the drawbridges will close before predicted gale force winds, which is 39 miles per hour, and it's not going to reopen until all the severe weather has passed.
Thousands of power crews are getting in place just ahead of the storm. Duke Energy, OUC, FP&L, all of them bringing in workers from around the country, even Canada, to help restore power if, in fact, we lose power. Now, once the storm passes, those companies say you should report any outages and, of course, most importantly, stay away from any downed power lines. Governor Ron DeSantis suspending tolls for evacuees, State Road 528, 417, and the 429. All of them have had tolls suspended, as well as the express lanes on I-95 and I-75 and along the Turnpike.
By the way, if you need a place to evacuate, Airbnb has got Open Homes program. They started it last week. Airbnb hosts can volunteer to open up their homes for free to evacuees. The evacuees can look for homes in Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina, and here in Florida. Got a map for you, all of the available homes on Airbnb's website.
And Rosen Hotels and Resorts, they're offering up special discounted rates at all of their hotels. There are 8 in the Orlando area. Now, all the hotels are currently booked through tomorrow. However, they do have vacancies starting on Wednesday. The cost starts at $59 a night. And here's what's special about many of these Rosen hotels. They will allow you to bring your pets.
Lynx buses going to run through their Labor Day schedules today, but then they're shutting down for the remainder of the storm. They will only be providing life-sustaining trips for, like, dialysis treatments.
Sunrail also shutting down for the entire week. Service was already scheduled to be shut down today for Labor Day. Officials say it should be back up and running by next Monday, which would be September 9th. And in Lake County, people are really stocking up on their supplies, and they are planning to stay put.
Yeah, the news station's Jessica Albert has that side of the story. Coming up next on the news station, we're going to take you out to Brevard and Flagler counties and check in on how people are getting ready for the storm.
Be sure to stay right there. We'll be right back.
Charter Communications has opened up more than 32,000 Spectrum Wi-Fi hotspots in Florida, making them available to all and to help in preparation for Hurricane Dorian. So you can visit mynews13.com for more information on the exact location of those Spectrum hotspots in Spectrum service areas across our state. To connect, just look for the Spectrum Wi-Fi network that's under your device's Wi-Fi settings. Charter Communications is the parent company of Spectrum News 13.
And Allison, of course, we want to remind people about the price gouging issue. There is a hotline that remains activated leading up to Dorian. If you suspect you are being gouged, Attorney General Ashley Moody wants to remind you to call Florida's hotline. It's 866-966-7226.
We're focused on making sure Floridians are preparing and protecting their property and families, making sure they have the right supplies. We want to prevent this as it's taking place and document the incidents so that we can successfully go after those that would merit that following the storm.
And there's also an app you can use. It is called No Scam, which lets you submit incidents that way.
And we have continuing coverage of everything you need to be prepared for Dorian right there on our website. There you'll find shelter locations, we have sandbag locations, a link to One Blood donations, plus an outage map. Yeah, we'll be tracking our area as we start to feel the effects of Dorian. Just head to mynews13.com/storm season. At 41 after the hour, all eyes on Dorian and how any potential shift or even wobble in the track might impact Central Florida.
Fingers crossed for a more easterly wobble. Yes. And we want to get the latest now on the ever so slowly moving Hurricane Dorian now. Time for weather on the ones.
Tracking Hurricane Dorian on this Labor Day afternoon. Chris Gilson and Certified Chief Meteorologist Brian Carrick tracking the storm. And we've seen some gusty squalls here ahead of Dorian. And we're waiting for it to make that clear sign that it's making that northerly turn.
Yeah, so we've been watching the eye. You know, it's hard. When you stare at it for so long, you almost think like you're getting hopeful indications. But we've seen that west-northwest drift. But, Chris, it's only 1 mile per hour. So it's hard to say that that's kind of a trend right now.
After Hurricane Dorian, Dorian. Chief Meteorologist Tony Vanolfi and Eric Burris have been watching this thing for days now. It is a slow mover, continues to batter the Bahamas, but they're telling us that the pressure's going up, the winds are going down, and it is approaching making that northward turn. You're watching WESH 2 News.
All right, a review there of what's happening there in that part of Seminole County in Sanford. We'll be right back with our continuing coverage now of Hurricane Dorian.
As Hurricane Dorian approaches our coast, you can count on the Severe Weather Center 9 team to cover all of Central Florida to help you prepare with the latest track and the critical information you need. Channel 9 Eyewitness News. Severe weather coverage you can count on.
You are watching continuing coverage right now. All eyes on Dorian. I'm Martha Sagalski along with Greg Wormuth. We are here to take you through the afternoon and evening hours to give you the very latest on what's happening with this massive, intense hurricane.
And we're not alone. Of course, we have our teams just spread all over Central Florida. We'll also take you to the Bahamas and show you the devastation. And that's really probably not even a big enough word to describe what this storm did to their location. Those islands, many of those have basically been flattened. Absolutely. We're also checking our beaches here in Central Florida. Channel 9's Melanie Holt is live along the beaches of Brevard County, and she's here to give us the update on what is happening there. And we will check in to see a little bit more wind, but not too much rain right now. Right, Melanie?
Well, I tell you what, you should have been here 20 minutes ago when we got a good soaking out here. Already, though, the sun is back out, and just behind me here, we still have
throughout the rest of the hour. But for now, we'll toss it back to you guys at the desk.
All right, Candace, thank you. Our hurricane phone bank is open right now, and they're taking your calls. Volunteers are standing by to answer any questions you may have about Hurricane Dorian and getting ready. Call the number. It's on your screen. It's 888-436-6665. We will be there for you until 7:30 tonight.
And as Dorian starts turning north, we are getting more video out of the Bahamas now showing the devastation there. And Hurricane Dorian hit the island, as you know, as a powerful Category 5 storm. We know of at least one death in the Bahamas that is connected to Dorian. And back here at home, Sky 6 flew over Brevard County near the port this morning, and we saw boats out of the water and being secured on the ground there. Brevard is one of the counties still in that cone of uncertainty.
Now, some hospitals in Brevard have already been evacuated. Shelters are now open.
Yeah, News 6's James Barbero joins us from North Brevard County and Satellite Beach. And James, you're starting to see some bigger waves there right now. Is that right?
I think, Ginger, this is the beach erosion that we're fearing. I think we're starting to see it right now here in Satellite Beach. This is a usual location.
Yeah, you can see it start to happen already. James Barbero live for us. James, we'll see you later. Thank you. Another county still in that cone of uncertainty is Volusia County. Sky 6 is live now over Ponce Inlet. And we're starting to see the waves out there crashing and getting a little rougher. The coastal community is closely watching Dorian.
That's right. Hinson Middle School, which is a shelter, is now at capacity.
So News 6's Lauren Korn joins us live from Daytona Beach. And Lauren, you spoke to a woman who says she does not want to evacuate.
Correct, Matt. I mean, good to know that there's one shelter at capacity, so people are paying attention to that mandatory evacuation. Matt?
Yeah, it's going to be really tough in that water there, if not already. Lauren Korn live for us. Thank you.
All right, Trooper Steve is watching the roads for us, and he joins us now with a traffic update.
That's
Steve?
right. As of right now, things are looking pretty good. There was a crash here northbound at I-95 right around the 205 mile marker off to the side of the road. They have just recently cleared this out, and all lanes are open. I've been in close contact with the Highway Patrol, and we are seeing zero issues when it comes to evacuations. No backups, nothing issues along the causeways either. There is a crash along US 1 and Suntree Boulevard. This is going to be southbound. Currently, the left turn lane is blocked in that area, so be careful as you're traveling through there. Coming a little further inland, we're dealing with minor crashes. Nothing major. Dean Road and Lake Underhill, we see one there. You can see the delays kind of just north of Lake Underhill, so be careful as you're traveling through there. And a little further south there, right at Orange Avenue and Martin Brower Road, we see a crash with southbound delays. Other than that, we're checking out pretty good so far. Guys, back to you.
All right, Steve, thank you. Well, from school closures to shelters, News 6 is working to keep you updated.
Coming up at 3, an update from Orange County's Emergency Operations Center. Tom.
If you have not seen this path of projected movement, come look. Here it is. Dorian still out there as a major Category 4 storm threatening our coast. Now, the path keeps it offshore, but there's no guarantee that's going to work out. I know this seems like a movie you've seen before, like a Matthew or maybe a Floyd, but we're back in the thick of it again. I'll be right back with the models so you know how to make your plans. See you in a few.
Always be prepared throughout the storm with breaking alerts from News 6.
The Click Orlando live stream is your storm defense. Track Dorian live with dozens of streaming cameras broadcasting every moment of the storm. See what News 6 sees as it happens only on clickorlando.com. Watch our broadcast, follow our team on location, keep track of emergency updates from your county. Check out our Pinpoint Weather Center and see what's happening behind the scenes. Continuing coverage of Dorian with clickorlando.com's instant pinpoint stream only from News 6.
It's the bottom of the hour, and right now, Dorian is churning and shredding in the Atlantic after a devastating blow to the Bahamas. Some stunning images emerging as the storm, it takes its toll on the islands.
Really just heartbreaking to see, and now the attention is shifting to our East Coast, where folks are bracing for some kind of impact from Dorian's wind and rain. Our team coverage of Dorian's Roach continues on the afternoon edition. Good afternoon once again. I'm Eric Levy.
And I'm Allison Walker-Torres, and we thank you so much for spending part of your Labor Day with us and keeping it locked right here on Spectrum News 13. We want to get to the very latest on the track of Dorian. Let's head in right now to our weather center. This is your weather on the ones.
Thank you, Allison and Eric. Yes, we are still monitoring very closely any kind of wobble here in Dorian. Chris Gilson and I were peering over satellite data and wishful thinking at the first sight that it was wobbling a little bit more north, but it's moving only at 1 mile per hour, so a little bit of a deceiving wobble. But here is the latest information if you're just joining us. We'll have an update on Dorian for you coming up in less than 10 minutes. Eric and Allison?
All right, Brian, thank you so much. So from weather to traffic, this being a holiday, practically owned the 408 getting here to work today. So it's nice to...
It was quite easy getting there, but it's also quite easy if your folks are watching us from the coastline and want to move your way inland. Today may be a good day to do it, especially with those tolls being lifted too. Anything to make the moving out process that much easier.
Yes, as fluid as possible. So let's head it over to Ryan Harper right now. So Ryan, any inconveniences at this time?
Thanks, guys. We saw a bunch of wrecks around the 1 o'clock hour, but a lot of those have since cleared. But you were talking about the tolls lifted, and that includes all of the toll roads for Central Florida. It includes the Turnpike, the 408, as Allison was talking about, Beach Line, which is actually pictured right here. This camera is near Port Canaveral at A1A. Maybe a little bit windy in this picture, but overall looking nice. The causeways have not been very busy whatsoever at this point in time. Up to Flagler County, so zones A, B, and F, they have been under mandatory evacuations. That's in the red, the yellow, and that purple coloration near that St. Johns River because it's in a tidal pattern as well. So the evacuation routes, they've been pretty clear for the most part, like I-95, portions of A1A, US 1, State Road 40, and State Road 100 as well. To the south over in Brevard County, very similar story in terms of it not being that congested, but that whole orange section was evacuated. So the barrier islands and also portions of Merritt Island, the Cape as well. And they're all looking pretty good. We haven't seen any major delays. I do want to take a second to give you a reminder to turn around. Don't drown. Obviously, the next several days, we're going to be looking at lots of standing water out there. Important graphic to note, 6 inches of water. That can stall your vehicle. 12 inches can float your vehicle, and then 2 feet can carry it away. So certainly something to keep in mind out there for the next several days. We'll be back in the 4 o'clock hour with more traffic updates. But for now in studio, I'm Ryan Harper, Spectrum News 13.
Live, getting results. This is News 6 at 4.
Now at 4, Hurricane Dorian loses strength but moves closer to the Sunshine State with parts of Central Florida still in the cone of uncertainty.
And we are seeing new video showing just how powerful the now Category 4 hurricane is. This video is from Freeport, Bahamas, and you can see the wind swaying those trees and causing some widespread flooding.
And this video shows just how bad that storm surge is with this thing. You can see floating shipping container and submerged trees in some of these videos. It's just awful to watch. In an hour, we'll get the next advisory for Hurricane Dorian.
But as of right now, it is packing winds of up to 150 miles per hour.
And parts of Central Florida are soon expected to start feeling those effects. Chief Meteorologist Tom Storls is here now with the latest on Hurricane Dorian. And Tom, we really are already starting to feel some of the effects, but I can't help but think of the past 24, 48 hours of horror that those people in the Bahamas.
Oh, it's been awful. And I love Freeport. Remember that? It just sickens you, doesn't it?
Yeah,
to see it beat up Freeport like that breaks my soul. Hey, and remember, their storm surge is different than our storm surge.
Right.
So you'll never see that, for the most part, on the east coast of Florida. Candace will be along in a moment to talk about our storm surge. It won't be like that, although we're going to have some effects and damage going on. Look at this. It is still lingering right here on top of Grand Bahama. Freeport is right there. So the eye comes right in the last several hours, comes up, dips under and goes up here.
Sunset tomorrow. Okay, that's when the storm's going to be closer. Sunset tomorrow. These are wind gusts based on the forecast model and a rough idea of where the storm is. These numbers will actually fluctuate depending on the storm size. You get that. So we're still gusting to near 30. Tropical storm gusts inland. This is like on an hourly basis, not the occasional squall, but we're starting to get wind gusts over 50 to near 65 miles an hour. So watch these numbers as I go forward. We're going to watch them together. Here we go. We're near hurricane force wind gusts. This is going to be midnight Wednesday, so Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. Hurricane about 40 to maybe 50 miles. We hope farther, but again, that western eye wall is expanding, so we may be brushing the coast with hurricane force winds. So it's going to be windy over the interior, gusty to the west, especially with the outer squall bands, and downright nasty along the beaches. And this is midnight. And we remember this from 2004, Greg. It was hammering all night for both our coastal storms, Francis and Gina, along the coast.
The one thing to remember, and this is what Governor Ron DeSantis said today, and I'll quote, "Get out now while you still have time." Don't be lulled into a false sense of security because the storm is going to be off our coast. Don't forget that rescue teams will not go in with wind gusts of 40 miles per hour. And you can see right there, we're well in excess. In New Smyrna Beach, the wind is going to be blowing at 81 miles per hour.
That's a wind gust right there. We may not have a sustained, it may be sustained 60, gust to 80, but, you know, it's the wind gusts that do a lot of the damage because the wind gusts are usually 15 to 20% higher than the average wind. It's that, you know, it's blowing.
It's like a punch.
If you ever watch a storm come by, you know, it's windy, 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 then whoosh. Okay, that gust is what does a lot of the damage in storms. So this is 3 a.m. in the morning. Martha, you talked about overnight. Let's go to daybreak. This thing is still hammering. Here we go. Here's 5, 6 a.m. The sun's trying to come up. We probably won't see it, but we will have hurricane force gusts along the coast. We've reversed the wind flow. It's now blowing the opposite direction. So the surge is not the problem. It's going to be the lake surge coming in off the Indian Banana rivers and the tributaries. And we're still going to be blowing directly down into northern sections of Volusia County. And we're going to be also starting to blow down the St. Johns River. So we're going to be backing this sucker up again like we did back in Matthew, and that's going to cause more flooding, especially up in Astor, Lake George. And so, yeah, so I think tomorrow night, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning are going to be the worst for winds and surge.
All right, you know, we've talked about what happened in the Bahamas, the devastation, unprecedented 200-mile-per-hour wind gusts, sustained mile-per-hour on the reading in Grand Bahama and Abaco of 185.
People saying that it sounded like buzzsaw-like winds, splintering homes, flooding the streets, and people terrified for their lives. There have been a report of a child dying in the Bahamas, but we're waiting to get that confirmed. This is video right now that you're looking at of Freeport, and you can see, and Tom, I don't know if you're still mic'd up over there, but you talked about there's no place for this water to go.
Oh, yeah.
So this is just piling up here.
These islands very flat. It's not like Puerto Rico where it's very kind of hilly, mountainous to an extent. This is nearly just a few feet above sea level, and they've had a surge over 18 feet, 18 to 20 feet, and it's been just hours and hours and hours. And they kind of are up to the mercy of some of the high and low tide cycles, but incredible there. And we're not even sure exactly when.
¿Qué tal? Buenas tardes y bienvenidos. Bienvenidos a esta edición de Noticias 31. Seguimos de cerca los movimientos del huracán Dorian debilitándose hasta ahora.
Y por eso estamos aquí con nuestros especialistas en meteorología, Sergio González y Carlos Robles. Tienen lo más reciente del sistema que ahora amenaza a la Florida. Así que bueno, ¿qué nos pueden contar un poco ustedes de lo que está sucediendo?
Bueno, lo más reciente del boletín del Centro Nacional de Huracanes, el sistema se ha estacionado totalmente. Continúa perdiendo intensidad y esa debería ser la tendencia durante el resto de la tarde y noche. La única mala noticia, compañeros, es que obviamente su campo de vientos comienza a expandirse.
Bueno, y precisamente ahorita estamos viendo imágenes en vivo desde Cocoa Beach en el condado Brevard, donde como podemos notar, pues ya se nota un poquito el incremento de las olas. Recuerda también que hay aviso de marejada que podría llegar de 4 a 7 pies de altura, así que estas son condiciones bastante peligrosas. También se sabe que esta noche el Aeropuerto Internacional de Orlando cerrará o cesará sus vuelos después de las 2 de la mañana, o sea que deja de operar el aeropuerto, Olga.
Y muy pendientes porque ya por lo menos en la playa de Daytona Beach ya han levantado la bandera doble roja, lo que significa que nadie puede estar dentro del agua. Ya han surgido arrestos, así que mucho cuidado.
Condiciones de lluvia nuevamente podrían intensificarse durante los próximos días, no bajamos la guardia todavía. La posibilidad de tornados todavía existe durante el día de mañana, así que todavía este sistema es bastante peligroso y que durante los próximos días estaría acercándose más sobre el área de la costa este y con ello pues traer estos vientos más fuertes e inclusive podríamos estar sintiendo vientos huracanados. Carlos.
Precisamente, compañeros, si ven ustedes, este es el boletín más reciente del Centro Nacional de Huracanes.
Open, but Greg, we got word that officially it is shutting down after the last flight gets out tonight.
Let's go out live again. Channel 9's Field Sutton is live at OIA with, looks like a pretty good crowd of folks getting out. I can tell you one thing, an update since your last report, Field. My wife was supposed to fly into Orlando Airport at 8 o'clock tonight. That flight now canceled.
You know, I'm not surprised to hear it because the cancellations are piling up, and we're going to look at them in just a minute, show you how severe that has gotten. First, I want to show you people getting out as they can before this airport shuts down. You actually got some people back down in there. I mean, this is nothing compared to a normal day at the airport, but compared to the ghost town it was earlier in the day, there's at least some activity. A lot of this is international passengers who have been checking in throughout the afternoon for overnight flights that are going to go across the Atlantic. We just talked to one of those families about what it's been like trying to figure out if this airport was going to be open or closed, schedule a flight, and get gone.
It's been quite scary. We don't really know what to prepare for. We've been taking advice from local people, and we did make preparations, but now the airport's staying open, we can leave.
Poor Claire. She and her family are on one of those delayed Thomas Cook flights to Manchester, supposed to go off at 4:55 and 5:20. I don't know which one she's on, but they were right back to back. Both of them delayed. Hopefully going to go out now here in the next half hour or so. But you can see just how many canceled flights there are. It was more delays earlier and less red overall. As you say, Greg, that is mounting up, and that is going to continue to mount up throughout the evening. Last flight out of here was at least scheduled for 1:45 tomorrow morning. At that point, the airport shuts down indefinitely. We do not know when it'll reopen. It'll all depend on the storm. Live at OIA, Field Sutton, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
They'll also have to take the planes out of there that are on the ground. Airliners want their planes in safe areas.
Well, that's why Embry-Riddle has moved their fleet out to get it to a safer spot. And just to let you know, WFTV.com has a wealth of resources for you as we track Hurricane Dorian together. If you go to WFTV.com/power, you can check out the power outage numbers for all the major power companies in one place, like Duke, FPL, and OUC. That's just one of the many great tools on WFTV.com right now. Again, we have a whole team, a digital team. They know what they're doing. They're the best in the business, and they are updating this website and our app. We have the weather app. We have the Channel 9 News app, just so you can get all the information at your fingertips.
And everything on WFTV.com as it relates to the storm is also in Spanish.
Muy bien. Necessary for our friends who speak Spanish. Well, Channel 9's Carla Ray is live for us right now in Melbourne Beach.
And Carla, what are the conditions since we last came to you?
And as I mentioned before, very busy out here in New Smyrna Beach. We're right at the end of Flagler Avenue. Take a look at these crowds. There are a lot of people that are just checking out the conditions. They've got their cell phones out. And check out the parking lot here. I mean, it is almost full. We've got restaurants that are busy here on Flagler Avenue. Some people have their animals out with them. We've got a parrot here that is hanging out next to the beach. We've got some dogs getting some air before they have to be hunkered down for a little bit. So I guess the people out here right now just trying to squeeze every last bit of the outdoors that they can before Dorian gets closer. For now, I'm live in New Smyrna Beach. Danielle Lama, Fox 35 News.
Danielle, thank you. You know, you and I have covered so many hurricanes in the time that we've been reporting, and it's amazing. Each time you have a storm like this, there's always the thrill seekers.
Yeah, but this one's going so slow. I'm sure people are getting cabin fever.
Yeah.
I know the kids are off like Tuesday and Wednesday, and I'm like, what do you do with them? And this thing is moving at 1 mile an hour.
Yeah, they're safe for now.
Yeah.
You know, they can have a good time now.
It's Labor Day.
Yeah, but when it starts to move closer, maybe you guys should, you know, go in.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. You're watching live continuing coverage of Hurricane Dorian.
We'll be right back.
Now on Fox 35 News at 5:30.
Breaking right now at 5:30, Hurricane Dorian is starting to move north.
That's good news. Chief Meteorologist Glenn Richards live with this big update.
Huge update. Again, the best thing we have seen all day is this slow movement now due north. So this continues. It's not just a little wobble. You see a little wobble to the northeast. We're not going to get suckered into that. But again, right now it looks like it's going due north. So that is fantastic news.
Blessing. You're welcome.
All right, Charles, over to you.
Luann, we are working breaking news right now. Disney now announcing its parks will be closed early tomorrow due to the hurricane. Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom will be closing at 2 p.m. The Magic Kingdom and Epcot will close at 3. We will be right back.
College is now closing through Wednesday, September 4th. Earlier, we had told you that the college was going to be closing through Friday, but as of right now, they're closing through Wednesday.
I want to take you now live to Freeport in the Bahamas for a look at the conditions that are happening there right now. This is actually a far cry from even just a few hours ago when Category 4 strength winds were battering this island. This is Grand Bahama Island. This is the one that is the long east-west island that is the closest to Central Florida. The Prime Minister there confirming within the last half hour that 5 people are now dead in the Bahamas and described this as an historic tragedy. When you consider what has happened here over the last 24 to 36 hours, much of the island nation was battered by winds that were sustained at 185 miles an hour with gusts of 220 miles an hour and a storm surge of anywhere from 10 to 20 feet. Just catastrophic damage here.
Yeah, tying a record from 1935, also Labor Day weekend. So really, these are the kinds of images that we just continue to see in videos coming back from the islands here of cars underwater, homes even. Truly devastating. We'll have all of it for you right here on WESH 2 and on our Facebook pages, our mobile app, and WESH.com. Stay with us. You're watching our continuous coverage of Hurricane Dorian.
Bueno, si usted se siente totalmente inseguro, no lo piense dos veces. Este es el momento para acudir a cualquiera de estos refugios.
Así es, y además acate también las órdenes de las autoridades y manténgase informado por nuestra pantalla Telenoticias 31. Mientras tanto, en la ciudad de Orlando, desde hoy lunes a las 12 del mediodía, usted podrá tener la oportunidad de estacionar su vehículo de forma gratuita en 5 estacionamientos que están al público abierto. Esto es en la ciudad, por supuesto, con el fin de que pueda proteger su vehículo en caso de un fuerte impacto por este huracán.
Y los estacionamientos los puede ver en pantalla. También Disney, mediante un comunicado de prensa, informó que varias de sus atracciones cerrarán a partir de las 2 de la tarde mañana. Para los horarios completos, usted puede entrar en nuestro portal telemundo31.com. Vamos a una pausa, pero quédense con nosotros que venimos con más información.
Presentado por Toyota con grandes ofertas durante la liquidación nacional de Toyota.
Bien, continuamos con nuestra cobertura especial con motivo de la posible llegada del huracán Dorian.
Así es, Paul, hacemos seguimiento a cada minuto y por supuesto todos los reportes meteorológicos que se están realizando para que la población, por supuesto, esté informada y además esté prevenida.
Con la última información vamos a pasar nuevamente con Eric Sierra. Adelante.
Compañeros, de nuevo, buenas tardes. El Centro Nacional de Huracanes mantiene esa condición respecto al huracán Dorian, categoría 4, vientos sostenidos de 145 millas por hora. En estos momentos ubicado el ojo del huracán aproximadamente a 105 millas de lo que es el este de West Palm Beach. ¿Qué quiere decir? Que como el radio de vientos de huracán, de tormenta tropical, se extiende aproximadamente 150 millas, ya hemos observado sobre algunos sectores de la costa lo que son las primeras ráfagas de viento que están superando esas 35, 39, 40 millas por hora, es decir, ya son condiciones de tormenta tropical en algunos sectores. Como bien observamos, bandas de lluvia se acercan y bandas de lluvia estarán apareciendo y desapareciendo de manera intermitente. ¿Cuál es la situación en estos momentos del huracán? Se encuentra prácticamente estacionado, ha seguido ese patrón que hemos venido comentando en el transcurso de los últimos días de avanzar en dirección hacia el oeste. Sin embargo, ha llegado en estos momentos el punto, lamentablemente, para las Bahamas, donde seguirá castigándolos. Aún así, considerando lo que es el riesgo, el factor riesgo para todo lo que es nuestra región, por supuesto, la costa del Atlántico con mayor índice de posibilidad de verse afectados. ¿Qué es lo que estaríamos observando? Posibilidad de apagones, posibilidad de vientos de tormenta tropical e incluso de huracanes de tormenta tropical, de huracán. Las condiciones en cuanto también a la generación de tornados es un factor que se hace presente. Aquí es precisamente lo que es el sector de viento que va a estar registrándose sobre lo que es el área de la costa. Observaremos las condiciones de viento de huracán, es decir, superiores a las 75 millas por hora. Esto de seguir el patrón que tiene contemplado el huracán en cuanto al reporte por parte del Centro Nacional de Huracanes, que sería prácticamente siguiendo en paralelo la línea costera del estado de la Florida. Así, el panorama para el día de mañana ubicaremos, si se cumple esa expectativa, es que estaríamos registrando al fenómeno meteorológico justo frente a las costas de nuestro sector, trayendo por consecuencia para la parte central del estado la actividad de lluvia. Hasta aquí nuestro reporte. Por supuesto, la importancia es seguir estando atentos a todo lo que es la información que se genere por parte del Centro Nacional de Huracanes, que por supuesto nosotros se la haremos saber. Compañeros, regresamos con ustedes al otro lado del estudio.
Gracias, Eric. Bien, varios albergues del condado Seoul abrieron sus puertas este lunes para acomodar a residentes de ese sector.
Así es, Daniel Castrillón nos trae el informe. Adelante.
Bueno, el condado Volusia es uno de los que se prepara para el posible azote del huracán Dorian y en minutos iniciará de hecho una conferencia de prensa para hablar un poco más en detalle de qué es lo que están haciendo, ¿no?
Así es, pero vamos a pasar con Oma Machuca, quien se encuentra en vivo, ya se encuentra desde esa zona. Adelante.
Muchísimas gracias. En medio de un sol radiante, aquí en el condado Volusia, en vivo con ustedes. El área de Halifax, el río Halifax, es una de las que más se desborda y precisamente ya hace unos instantes, a las 6 de la tarde, entró el toque de queda. Está conmigo Lisa Doy, quien es la portavoz de este condado. Hablemos de lo que representa el toque de queda a esta hora.
Bueno, es para mañana a las 6 de la tarde hasta las 6 de la mañana y también se repite de martes a jueves y martes a miércoles, miércoles a jueves.
Muy bien.
Aclaración, para áreas de la playa, toda esa zona es para proteger vidas y propiedades y todo eso, ya que toda esa zona está bajo orden de evacuación obligatoria.
Esta es una zona inundable, una zona donde prácticamente se desborda el río y por lo general la gente en las calles anda en canoa.
Sí, se ha visto en otros años ahí con Irma y Matthew, con las otras tormentas han habido inundaciones terribles por allá. Entonces sí, que tomen en serio
Vemos
esto.
un sol radiante a esta
Sí.
hora. Ahora, ¿cuál es su consejo? Naturalmente sabemos que el huracán nos va a impactar aquí con vientos de tormenta tropical.
Por favor, manténganse en estado de preparación. Todavía no estamos fuera del peligro y entonces manténganse preparaditos siempre. Y por favor, aclaración para la orden de evacuación es para las personas que viven en casas móviles al este de I-95 y claro, zonas de las playas.
Muchísimas gracias, Lisa, por haber estado con nosotros. Recuerde, toque de queda será a partir de mañana a las 6 de la tarde durante toda la noche para aquellas personas que viven en zonas inundables y con casas rodantes. Ahora regresamos con ustedes al estudio. Adelante, compañeros.
Bueno, Regresamos con nuestros expertos. Entonces, ya se comienzan a sentir ráfagas de lluvia, Olga, cerca de la costa.
Sin embargo, todavía este fenómeno se encuentra estacionario, sin cambio ninguno en categoría 4.
Así mismo es, y debería permanecer así hasta tarde en la noche de hoy para eventualmente, durante horas de la madrugada, tomar un ligero cambio hacia el norte, que ese es el que nos salvaría de un impacto directo, pero aún su campo de viento es sumamente extenso. Por consiguiente, Sergio, vamos a continuar viendo condiciones de tormenta tropical, así lo mantenemos en el pronóstico.
Definitivamente estas ráfagas de precipitación que estamos viendo precisamente en el radar ya han comenzado a abarcar básicamente la parte centro, norte y sur de nuestra península, y que entonces se quedará así. Prueba de esto también, todavía se mantiene este aviso por huracán que se quedará por lo menos hasta las 5 de la tarde de este jueves, debido a la intensidad de los vientos que estarían llegando por lo menos hasta miércoles en horas de la noche. Adicional a esto, todavía estas advertencias también se mantienen alerta de tormenta tropical.
Así es, Sergio, y esos avisos de tormenta tropical que permanecen en vigor, lo que significa es que ya en 36 horas vamos a comenzar a sentir los efectos. Estimamos que ya mañana, entre 3 de la tarde a lo que es el día miércoles en la madrugada, va a ser el periodo de tiempo con lluvia más intensa, con ese aumento en la velocidad de los vientos, y no será hasta el jueves, cuando vean en el pronóstico extendido cómo se muestra un ligero cambio en las condiciones en el tiempo, cuando nuevamente tendremos abundante radiación solar y ya toda esa actividad de lluvia y vientos fuertes habrá concluido totalmente en nuestra zona.
90-60% de cobertura de precipitación para este martes, miércoles, y hasta el momento podemos garantizar durante este día jueves que sería bastante agradable. Y esto es lo que estamos observando en las playas de Carolina del Sur, bastante en calma también, pero mucha precaución, ya que este sistema podría estar llegando sobre esta área y también estar deteriorando estas condiciones.
Bueno, y estas son las condiciones en las Carolinas. Nosotros aquí estaremos pendientes a todo lo que va a estar pasando a nivel local. Desde entonces nos despedimos, regresamos a las 11.
Nosotros nos estamos preparando por allá en Carolina del Sur y del Norte también, así que nosotros los mantendremos informados. Nos vemos en la noche.
From Fox 35, the news station, this is the News Edge at 6:30.
Now on the News Edge, tracking Dorian. The hurricane still forecasted to ride Florida's eastern coast as it moves north. We are not out of the clear quite yet. Hurricane Dorian starting to make that turn just barely.
Yeah, we have been waiting for this. Let's check in with the chief meteorologist, Glenn Richards. This is a great sign, right, Glenn?
It is. You know, we've been waiting this for, it seems like, a week. So again, this continues right now to make a slow north movement, which again is fantastic news. Forecast track. Finally, with the high pressure center gone, the system is allowed to move to the north. Again, the big question today has been, last few days has been, will it move northwest? Will it move north? Will it move northeast? It's slowly moving north right now. The official forecast track, as you can see, still takes it north and west. So if in fact it is more moving due north overall, then again, we're going to move the numbers out a little bit. But again, you can't buy into too much too quickly, because until this really gets going,
it gives that storm system less of a chance. A lowering chance of maintaining or intensifying. So that's upwelling is a good thing when it comes to the tropics. All right, let's take a look now at Dorian, moving off towards the west-northwest here, or nearly stationary, kind of a little bit of a slight pull earlier, now slowing down, stationary, a little bit of a wobble there. You can see by 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, it's still well 2 hours south, but as we get into Tuesday evening and then Wednesday, you can see the storm system does begin to pick up some forward speed. Take a look now at the hurricane warnings from Brevard all the way up towards Flagler counties right there. You can see we have those hurricane warnings, which means that within about 36 hours, we will have hurricane conditions here along the coast. Back towards the interior, you can see we have tropical storm warnings. Daytona Beach, you are not in that. It's just to the interior and west of you. Downtown Orlando along I-4 under those tropical storm warnings. Now, when we take a look at that water vapor channel right now, you can see the drier air up to the north. But notice on the western side here, we did have a little bit of dry air building in on the west side of the storm system. That tells us that, again, it's trying to erode that little bit northwestern look. But as this thing continues to wrap around, that's likely to be a temporary situation right there. As this does begin to lift to the north, we are anticipating this wind field to get even larger as it continues to pull northward, because you're getting the shear that's going to be developing. So it might be a right-weighted wind machine at some point, but not as it's passing along the Central Florida coastline. There's Freeport right there, and you can see the last couple of images. Looks like it's finally trying here, finally trying to pull away from the northern side of the island. As we take a look now at that eye, tremendous looking feature right here. Sun is setting. That's why it's dark on the left side of the eye. It's kind of that stadium effect, and you can see some clouds and some sunlight on the eastern side of that eye wall. Sounds like we have a news presser. Let's get back to the desk.
All right, want to get you out to Volusia County, where they're having an update from their Emergency Operations Center.
Let's listen in.
Hurricane Dorian. As a reminder, the latest information can always be found on the Volusia County Emergency Management Facebook page and at volusia.org/PIN. If you have any questions, our Citizen Information Center is open 24 hours a day, and you can call the Citizen Information Center at 866-345-03.
About 25 feet above sea level. They are standing on furniture to try and stay as dry as they can.
Scary stuff. And let's take a live look here at Daytona Beach. This is where Volusia County emergency leaders are about to give an update on preparations for the hurricane. The briefing is beginning right now. Let's listen in.
The Volusia County line is between 4 p.m. and 10 p.m. tomorrow. That's a change from noon from earlier today. So it gives a little bit of time for emergency responders to be able to do some shift changes and so forth in the morning. But, you know, obviously it's